We're about to dive into some of the most surprising and, honestly, misunderstood signs of high intelligence. What if some of the things you think are your biggest flaws are actually clues that your brain is operating on a totally different level? Let's uncover the hidden signs that might just prove you're way smarter than you give yourself credit for.
You ever find yourself in a room and it feels like everyone else just gets it faster? Yeah, that feeling is super common. But what if I told you that your intelligence might be hiding in plain sight, just disguised as something else entirely?
And that's exactly the idea we're digging into today. We're going to take a closer look at some of those common quirks, those little insecurities, and see how they might actually be the hallmarks of a really active and intelligent mind.
Okay, let's start with the stuff you do every day. These are the habits that might seem a little odd to other people, but you'll be surprised to find out are incredibly common among some of the smartest people out there.
First up, talking to yourself. And no, it's not a sign that you're going crazy. Not at all. In fact, some of the greatest minds in history, we're talking Albert Einstein here, were famous for mumbling to themselves while they were working through huge, complex problems.
So here's where it gets really interesting. While most people might think it's a bit weird, right? Research from the University of Wisconsin shows that when you verbalize your thoughts, you're actually helping your brain process information faster and hold on to it longer. You're basically coaching yourself, talking your own brain through the steps.
All right, I have a feeling this next one is going to make a lot of you breathe a little sigh of relief. What if procrastination isn't always about being lazy? What if it's actually a strategic move? This brings us to a concept called active procrastination. Research from the University of Calgary suggests that people with high IQs, well, their brains just aren't interested in busy work. They wait until a task becomes genuinely important before dedicating their full brain power to it. See, it's not laziness, it's efficiency. It's the reason you might do your most brilliant work when that deadline is right around the corner. Are you a night owl? Do your best ideas seem to hit you long after everyone else has gone to bed? Well, you are in very good company. Multiple studies have found a real link between people who stay up late and people who score higher on intelligence tests. And the reason for this, according to the London School of Economics, actually makes a ton of sense. Those late-night hours are quiet. They're distraction-free. It's the perfect environment for your brain to just wander, make new connections, and unlock those creative ideas that get drowned out by the noise of the day.
So we've talked about the habits. Now let's go a layer deeper. We're shifting from what you do to how you think. Let's explore some of your brain's secret powers.
Do you replay conversations in your head? Question every little decision? Do you map out like 50 different what-if scenarios for the future? This isn't just you being neurotic. It's actually a sign of a deeply analytical brain at work.
It is so easy to just slap the label anxiety on this, but let's reframe it for a second. In reality, what you're doing is analysis. Neuroscientists have a word for it, metacognition. It's the ability to think about your own thinking. That is a seriously high-level skill that lets you strategize, problem solve, and self-correct on the fly.
Okay, get ready for a real paradox here. Constant self-doubt. I know, it feels awful. But believe it or not, it can be a powerful sign that you actually know what you're talking about. So, how on earth can that be true?
Well, it all comes down to a really fascinating psychological principle called the Dunning-Kruger effect. And to put it simply, it says that the less someone knows about a subject, the more likely they are to be overconfident about it. And yeah, the opposite is also true.
This chart shows it perfectly. See how confidence is sky high when knowledge is low? But as that knowledge increases, confidence actually takes a dip. That's because the more you learn, the more you become aware of just how much you don't know. And that awareness creates humility. So if you're always questioning yourself, it's probably a sign you have a much deeper understanding than you think.
Does the ticking of a clock drive you absolutely crazy? Or the sound of someone chewing loudly? That little background noise that nobody else even seems to notice? This isn't just you being overly sensitive.
This is a trait known as heightened sensory processing. Your brain is basically like a high-performance computer that's absorbing way more data from the world around you than the average person's. And yeah, sometimes that can be overwhelming. But it also means you're processing information others completely filter out. This makes you way better at spotting subtle patterns and details they might miss.
So we've looked at habits and we've looked at these internal brain powers. But what's the one thing that connects all of it? The single defining trait that geniuses throughout history all seem to share.
After all these different signs, from talking to yourself to overthinking everything, what could possibly be the one unifying factor that ties them all together? Here it is, the ultimate sign. The one thing that connects every single one of these traits is that they never,
ever stop learning. It's not about what they already know. It's about their relentless, burning desire to know more.
You see, true intelligence isn't some destination you arrive at. It's a journey. It's that insatiable curiosity that pushes you to read one more chapter, to ask one more question, and to constantly challenge the answers you thought you already had. It's a genuine hunger for understanding.
So the real takeaway here is this. Maybe we need to completely redefine what smart actually means. It's not about your test scores or how fast you can do math in your head. It's about self-awareness, it's about adaptability, it's about curiosity, and it's about the sheer depth of your thought.
And so I'll just leave you with this one last thought. The very fact that you watched all of this, that you're here seeking to understand yourself and the nature of intelligence a little better, well, according to the single biggest sign of all, what does that say about you?